Hi everyone, welcome to Parent Alienation is Child Abuse Unfiltered. Thank you all for being here today and welcome to the new subscribers. I thank you all and appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to do a discussion about broken bonds and how bonds and broken bonds affect children. Now a lot of us ourselves have bonds with people. Having bonds is an important part of life. You build bonds through friendship and association. Children build bonds with many people in their lives as they grow. Children build bonds with mum and dad. That's pretty natural because that's mum and dad. They also build bonds with nan and pop or grandma, grandpa. They build bonds with their aunties, their uncles, their cousins, their nieces and nephews. These are all part of normal life for a child. They have bonds throughout their childhood. Some bonds are very strong. Some children develop extremely strong bonds with extended family members or even friends, kids they meet at school or kindy or high school or primary school. Children develop a lot of bonds with people throughout their lives. And sometimes these bonds are broken through no fault of their own. Sometimes these bonds are broken just as a natural progression through the relationship with their friends and things. They have fallouts and sometimes their friendship breaks up and they don't have that bond with that person anymore. What happens when these children have strong bonds with family members or extended family members, and then these bonds are broken not due to any fault of their own, but due to their parents' disagreements? We've talked about parent alienation and how parent alienation is an epidemic where it usually comes down to a relationship breakdown, where one person doesn't take the relationship breakdown as well as the other person doesn't move on with their life. Instead, what they do is turn spiteful and nasty and try to cause as much hurt as they can to the other person, be it the male, be it the female. Works on both sides of the fields, as all my videos state. There's no preference on who does this worse. It's an equal field. There are as many nasty women out there as what there are nasty men. And what happens when these children are caught up in the conflict with one parent wanting to leave the other parent? We've spoken before about co-parenting and how children should be co-parented 50-50 with their parents, unless there's a proven reason why this can't happen due to neglect or child abuse, but it has to be proven. The cases I talk about on this channel are not proven cases. These are ones that have been fabricated and made up lies. What happens to these children when they're forcibly removed away from the people they had close bonds with? How does this affect the child? This affects the child enormously. This affects the child in ways where building close connections to people becomes hard and challenging for them because they don't want to be betrayed or let down as they have been in the past. Now, children have bonds with not just their mum and dad and the extended families. These children also build bonds with teachers, with other adults that are in their lives due to kindy or preschool. What happens when these children have the uncertainty of those bonds broken too? Because one narcissistic parent decides to move around and jump from school to school to school, or from place to place, just to make things harder for the other parent to try to see that child. Because these things that do happen. How do you think the bonds affect these children when they're broken? When a child's been forcibly removed from a family's life because one parent couldn't move on and decide to be hurtful and nasty. These children pay the ultimate price for that. These children have their lives altered forever I've stated that in my other videos too. Everything that happens to a child when they're young, be it like preschoolers, babies, teenagers, young adolescents, everything that happens to them affects their future. Everything. And when they're a young child and they're caught in the middle of a parent alienation war where one parent has to fight just for the right to see them, this child's also being fed a lot of bullshit by the other parent about how, oh, your father doesn't want to be in your life, or your mother doesn't want to be in your life, when they know themselves that they're making things difficult for the other parent to see the child. One, by moving away. Two, by making up false allegations or lies. And being nasty and spiteful and just withholding the child. These children have their trust broken. Because if you can't trust your parents, then who can you trust? These children look at their parents for guidance on how your future should be, on how you're supposed to act around people, and how you behave, and how you take criticism, how you take knockbacks, how relationships work in good ways and how relationships work in bad ways. And if a relationship breaks down, these children are learning how you deal with that. You'll have one parent that is quite happy to have shared custody 50-50 and move on with their lives and be productive co-parenting together with that child. This child will flourish. This child will prosper and go forth and be a great member of society because they've been raised the right way. But when you have a child that has been forcibly removed and had their bonds broken with the people that they've loved and been close to for so long, and they've been forced away, how do these children cope with that? We've spoken before about how children cope with their frustrations and their innocence, you will say, of being put in positions where a child shouldn't be placed into. And that is stuck in the middle of a war with their parents. And this child loves both parents equally. But when parents decide that they have the right to break the bond that child has with either their mother or their father and their extended family, their grandma, their grandpa, nanny, poppy, aunties, uncles, cousins, nieces, nephews. The list goes on. Teachers. All done from one spiteful person. These children grow to not trust. These children grow to not believe what they're told because what they've been told is lies. And they work that out as they get older. And as I've already stated, which a lot of narcissistic parents just have trouble fathoming, that children pick up vibes. Children know just by being in that house when arguments are happening, who's instigating those arguments, who's the aggressor in those arguments, who's the bully. These kids work all that out. And they have that trust and that bond broken because you don't expect your mother or your father to turn into this nasty, horrible bully person that you remember loving you and caring for you and nurturing you. Both the parents doing that. And then all of a sudden, because there's arguments and one parent has decided to leave and the other parent's not taking that very well and has decided to play dirty. These kids are witness to all this. These kids have their lives changed, as I say. They get told that, half the time they don't even get told. They just get all their stuff packed up, put into the car and drove away. Or they have to watch their mother or father have to pack up all their stuff and drive away. How shattering is that for a child? To have the two people that are in their life that they love with all their heart, that's all they've known, suddenly play like children at a schoolyard, fighting over usually petty stuff. And instead of just moving on with your life and co-parenting that child together, because it's not the child's fault, relationship didn't work out. But it's the child who pays the price because the relationship didn't work out. Because one parent chose to be a narcissistic parent and make life difficult for everyone around them. Instead of letting the child be part of both parents' lives and both extended families' lives, who's been there since day one with the child's now left with a one-sided family and having to listen to bullshit about the other side of the family. Do you think these children don't think about their extended families? Do you think that these children don't think about their nanny and poppies, or their grandma, grandpas, their aunties or uncles that they were close to, their cousins that they used to spend hours of time playing with all the time? Do you think just because you've moved on and moved away that these kids forget all that? I can tell you right now, these kids don't forget that. They have it imprinted in their memory, in their mind, that stays there until they can find the answers to the question on why did this happen? Why did Dad not get along with Mum, and now I'm not allowed to see Dad anymore because Mum doesn't like him? Why aren't I allowed to see Mum? Because Dad won't let me. How come I can't go and see my nanny and poppy that I used to spend all the time with? I'm not allowed to do that anymore. How come I can't go and see great grandpa? Oh, I'm not allowed to do that anymore either. How do you think these kids feel about that? Has anybody ever stopped to think about the child? The narcissistic parent certainly doesn't, that's for sure. Because you wouldn't want to do that to your own kid. Not if you truly love that child. And you don't inflict your feelings onto an innocent child. You have no right to inflict your emotions onto an innocent child. You have no right to inflict any hostility on that child because that child is calling out for that other parent or asking about their extended family. Because they'd be wondering about them. Naive and stupid to think that they don't care just because you don't care. But in the world of the narcissistic parent, it's what they want and what they think is all that counts. And as I've stated before, these people get old. These end up old and alone because the kids work it out. And when they figured out they've been lied to and been withheld from their parent unnecessarily, only for a spiteful reason, it's going to come back and bite you hard. The thing is, it doesn't need to be like that. These bonds never needed to be broken. These bonds these children had with everybody, they were entitled to have and entitled to keep. Now, some of the things I talk about in here on my channel, I can get personal about because they're either things that I've witnessed myself or I've seen or experienced. But it's not an isolated story. It's not an isolated thing what happens. This is something that happens to hundreds and thousands of people. There's hundreds and thousands of children everywhere that are experiencing parent alienation because of their parent not wanting to move on. Because these parents use their children as a weapon to hurt the other parent. Because the only way they can hurt them is by taking their child or turning that child against that parent. That is the ultimate hurt. That's why they do it. Because they can't get to them any other way. Instead of just accepting that this is how it is, the relationship didn't work. Okay, well, there's going to be someone better for me out there, and there is always someone out there. Just because one relationship didn't work out, that's not the end of it. That's not the end of the world. It's not the only relationship out there. There's no need to make the children pay the ultimate price because you couldn't move on. These people need to wake up and stop being selfish. There's men and women everywhere that are having to go to courts to fight just to try to see their child. The emotional roller coaster, that alone is it's heartbreaking. The financial strain, that's heartbreaking. Then you get the false allegations or lies that get put onto you or onto other, it's like I said, it's not an isolated story. It happens. There's gentlemen that contact me, there's women that contact me that have the very, very same story. They've had allegations made against them, lies told about them. Male and female. Like I said, it's not a gender thing. This is what happens, and these kids are stuck in the middle of it. Forcing children to break bonds with people they're close to is it's pretty disturbing, because these children have got to feel safe and happy, and if they're being taken away from the bonds they feel safe and happy around, they have that bond broken and then are taken somewhere else, they'll be less likely to build a strong relationship with somebody else because they're going to be scared the same thing's going to happen. The same as at school. Same as going to school. Do you think these kids are going to knuckle down and learn when they know in probably 3 or 4 months' time they're going to be moving again? Do you think they're going to make any friends? Build any bonds with anybody there? Same as in their neighbourhood. They won't want to, because they're not going to be sure if they're going to keep those friends or they're going to be moving far away. How sad is that for that child? What I do find really sad is that I feel sad for the people that do this. I feel sad for the narcissistic parents, because how bad must you think about yourself that you have to manipulate a child, hurt other people to make yourself feel good? It's pretty sad. I feel sorry for them. The thing is, they don't realise what they're doing until it's too late. They don't realise that one day these kids are not going to want to be in their life because they think they've got it all worked out. They think that no one will question. Kids won't remember. Afraid to say they do. Remember everything. And they're going to be asking. And if you don't wake up to yourself now and do what's right, then these kids will grow up and they will hate you. They'll hate you for what you've done. They'll hate that you've put your selfishness above their needs. Basically, put your own selfish attitude above your own child's need. And the time that's taken away from these children, they don't get that back. They don't get that back. Because sometimes it's years before these kids are old enough to work things out. And sometimes some of their relatives have passed on. No one knows what's around the corner. No one knows when your time's up. So these kids will never ever get to spend time with some of their people that they had close bonds to, be it family or extended family, because of a spiteful person. Spite's a really poisonous thing, really, in my opinion. Spite takes away the thinking. All spite does is want to cause hurt. Spite wants to be nasty, wants to cause hurt as much as they can, even if it sacrifices their own child or children. In some cases I've heard there's multiple children involved in one family. There's too many. There's too many kids that are affected by this. I really think that people should be taught, as I said before, we should be teaching in school about life skills, about how to take rejection. How do you deal with a relationship breakup? How do you deal with somebody who's spiteful? How do you deal with a narcissist? People need to be taught how to do that, because there's a lot of narcissistic people out there. A lot of people get hurt at the hands of these people. But you've got to draw the line when these people are inflicting this on children. It is child abuse. In any other language, an adult hurting a child physically or mentally, that's child abuse. But the narcissistic parent think they're allowed to do that. And these kids don't get a say. They've been taken away, moved again, so there's no chance in the children's eyes of anybody finding them. They're stuck with the narcissistic parent, so therefore they have to survive there by any means. So I say that people need to take things slowly. Don't rush out and have a child, especially with somebody you hardly know. And if you do have a child with somebody and the relationship doesn't work out, co-parent together. Don't make that child pay for your mistakes. Don't make that child suffer. Don't change that child's life. Or break their bonds with people who they were close to. Don't break their trust. They're trusting you to bring them up, trusting you to guide them through life on how to approach different things and how to cope with different things. But if you're a narcissistic parent and you don't know how to cope yourself, then you have no right really in trying to raise a child, because all you're going to do is damage that child. And there's so many out there. I'm going to leave this one here today. Just wanted to do that one about breaking bonds. In my next video, I'm going to be talking about do they have a conscience? That'll be an interesting one if you're interested in it. Hit the little ding dong bell there so you get a notification when the video gets uploaded. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, I'd welcome you to do so. And hit the like button like it's one of them narcissistic people. Just give it a bang. Be curious to hear of any feedback from anybody out there that's had their bonds broken with someone close to them, because I know there'd be a lot out there. And the ones that reach out to me, I thank you. I thank you. And know you're not alone. We're all in this together. Anyway, stay safe, keep smiling, and catch you on my next one. See you guys.